What's up, people? The governor of Florida state, Ron DeSantis, defended the state's new Black History curriculum. I'm Chibuzo Machuku. I'd appreciate you liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Governor DeSantis said that the slaves benefited from slavery. I'll roll the clips now.
One thing within the policy. It says instruction includes how slaves develop skills which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit. Could you just explain why?
Well, you should talk to them about it. I mean, I didn't do it and I wasn't involved in it. But I think what they're doing is I think that they're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed being a blacksmith into doing things later in life. But the reality is all of that is rooted in whatever is factual. They listed everything out. And if you have any questions about it, just ask the Department of Education. You can talk about those folks. But I mean, these were scholars who put that together. It was not anything that was done politically.
The people that disapprove of what DeSantis said include whites. Now show just the whites.
Curriculum just got released in Florida. Now public schoolers in Florida will be learning about how slaves developed skills that benefited them later in life. Ron DeSantis actually defended this decision by saying that it was all based in fact. I think Ron DeSantis should be enslaved for the rest of his life and then tell everyone about the personal benefits. What do you think?
Folks, listen to what Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis has to say about his state's new education policy that slaves actually benefited from slavery.
Within the policy, it says instruction includes how slaves develop skills which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit. Could you just explain why?
Well, you should talk to them about it. I mean, I didn't do it and I wasn't involved in it. But I think what they're doing is I think that they're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed being a blacksmith into doing things later in life. But the reality is all of that is rooted in whatever is factual. They listed everything out. And if you have any questions about it, just ask the Department of Education. You can talk about those folks. But I mean, these were scholars who put that together. It was not anything that was done politically.
So I guess slavery was an internship. Clap.
Another day and another Republican defending slavery.
These are the most robust standards in African American history, probably anywhere in the country. I think that they're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed, being a blacksmith into doing things later.
That is Republican candidate for president and current governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, defending the Florida Board of Education's new Black History curriculum that requires schools teach children, and I quote, that slaves developed some skills which in some instances could be used for their benefit. That is the Florida Board of Education whitewashing slavery and insinuating that slaves benefited from being enslaved in this country, which is fucking bananas. I can't believe that I need to say this in 2023, but slavery was not a jobs program, especially when you consider that in America, the kind of slavery that was practiced, known as chattel slavery, was some of the most brutal and inhumane forms of slavery the world has ever seen. To make the argument that slaves in this country benefited from slavery is truly unfathomable and is only being done to downplay the impact and severity that slavery had on this country. What's next? You're going to tell me that the Jews somehow benefited from the Holocaust?
Florida standards teach students that some black people benefited from slavery because it taught useful skills. This is happening in Florida thanks to this doofus right here, Ronnie DeSantis. Here's the article. I'm going to try to leave as much of it visible as possible where you conservatives can't say, oh, you're misrepresenting the truth. The union said it is troubling that at the high school level, the standards conflate the 1920 Ocoee massacre when at least 30 African Americans were killed for attempting to vote with acts of violence perpetrated by African Americans. And in middle school, the standards require students be taught slavery was beneficial to African Americans because it helped them develop skills, job skills. Updates to the African American history curriculum were required by a controversial 2022 law that Ronnie D dubbed the Stop Wrongs to Our Kids and Employees Act, or Stop Woke Act. If you're playing along at home, Stop Woke means blame the African Americans for the situations they were in that they didn't control whatsoever. Look at those boots. This guy, once again, doofus, but dangerous doofus. This is the curriculum he's good with passing in schools. You conservatives, I'm waiting for you to jump up in here and tell me how this is right, because I'm waiting for it. But basically, hey, you guys tried to get voting rights? Well, those deaths are on your hands. And hey, slavery, totally cool. Job skills. It's like a job fair for African Americans. This guy right here, this is the guy passing it. He wants to be president. Don't let it happen.
Ron DeSantis' defense of educational curriculum that says slavery was beneficial to people of color, while Mr. Tough Guy Anti-Woke tries to back away from responsibility for it, shows just how much fear and hypocrisy are required to be a part of the Christian Republican Party today.
I mean, I didn't do it, and I wasn't involved in it. I think what they're doing is I think that they're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed, being a blacksmith into doing things later in life.
Ronnie, as former Texas Congressman Will Hurd pointed out, slavery was not a vocational training program for people of color. Who would have imagined in 2023 a presidential candidate could say, well, slavery had good benefits for people of color, and not have their candidacy ended immediately? But I guess that makes sense for a political party and Christian politicized religion that can say, well, sure, that 10-year-old girl was essayed, but she can get a beautiful baby out of it. At very least, we can take solace in the fact that it looked like Ron DeSantis was shitting his pants there, which makes me think of this beautiful song. Go see this video.
I mean, I didn't do it, and I wasn't involved in it.
But I don't blame you for being freaked, Ron. Trying to defend the indefensible is really difficult for you and all other right-wing Christians these days.
Ron DeSantis is such a clown. He obviously is into the Jim Crow era, that he cannot pretend not to hate black people. I remember him saying that the guy that killed Jordan Neely is a good Samaritan. How Christian he is. He obviously is a Christian. Christian indeed. He's no good. I don't hear other politicians talk like that. He is all for the promotion of slavery. This would make blacks look like they came to the continent with no skills. He's absolutely disgusting. I am confident that he will not be the president of this country. I'd like to see how his words work. Why don't you tell me what you think? Thanks for watching.